Hello students, today we are going to discuss about the poem Footprints in the Sand. Footprints in the Sand is a poem which tells us that God will never desert us and that we are never alone. Especially during our most trying times, God is always there with us. Many people have claimed to have penned this beautiful dialogue with God, hence, the author's name will not be mentioned. So, you can say that this is a very beautiful poem, and still it is anonymous. Although many authors, many poets have claimed that they have written, but it is not clear now. Okay, but the poem is having biblical allusions, means indirect reference of the Bible. The belief is absolutely true. Okay, so let us begin from here. One night I dreamed a dream as I was walking along the beach with my Lord. So what so happens in the opening stanza, in the opening line, the poet says that it so happened at one night that he or she dreamt of a vision in which he saw that he was walking along with the beach, and even his God was also walking with him or her. Across the dark sky flashed scenes from my life. For each scene, I noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to me and one of my Lord. So, further, the poet says that even such scenes from his life they flashed even, but in each scene he was noticing that there are two sets of footprints in the sand, and one footprint belongs to him and another belongs to God. It means that he and his God were walking together. After the last scene of my life flashed before me, so whenever there was the last episode, last scenario of the poet's life which was flashed in front of him, I looked back at the footprints in the sand. So at that time, even he looked at the footprints in order to observe whether he was accompanied by his God or not. I noticed that at many times along the path of my life, especially at the very lowest and saddest times, there was only one set of footprints. Then he noticed, or then he found that it had happened many times with him that when he required uh, a companion to help, when he was having difficult times in his life, he found that only there were only one pair of footprints appeared in the sand. So this really troubled me. While noticing this was rather troublesome for him, so I walked the Lord about it. So I asked about. In this way, we can say that the narrator says, or the poet says, he or she asked about it to the God. Lord, you said once I decided to follow you, you would walk with me all the way. The question was there that it was promised by God that God would never leave him alone, and whenever he will go, God will walk with him. But I noticed that during the saddest and most troublesome times of my life, there was only one set of footprints. Further, it was said or made it clear that the narrator says here Even he noticed that when there was hard time for him in his life, he noticed or he found that there was only one footprint in the sand. I don't understand why, when I needed you the most, you would leave me. So he was just complaining on the behalf of watching the one footprint in the sand. He said that even he is not able to understand why God left him when he needed his companionship. He whispered. He means here God. God whispered. Whispered means here said very slowly, my precious child, addressing the man or the narrator as precious child, valuable child. I love you and will never leave you. That God said that He loves him and He will never leave him alone. Never ever. It means this will never happen. During your trials and testings, and especially when you are in the trouble or you are facing the hard times, when you saw only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. It means that the God made it clear when he was only seeing, he was watching only one set of footprints in the sand. It means that it was not the narrator who was walking alone, but it was the God Himself who was walking while carrying the narrator in His lap. It means this had happened.